While serving his sentence, this man discovered something terrifying. The floor began to crack in an eerie manner. The man instantly froze in panic, fearing some unknown monster had emerged. Terrified, Neil tried to flee, but trapped within the prison walls, he had nowhere to run. Then, an unidentified creature surfaced from below, his face contorted with horror, until the creature turned its head, revealing it to be a white-haired old man. Seeing Neil's fright, the old man quickly introduced himself, explaining he too was a prisoner, imprisoned for 12 full years. He had spent 8 years digging a tunnel, only to realize he dug in the wrong direction. Bruce then climbed onto Neil's shoulders, with no windows in his cell. He hadn't seen sunlight in 12 years. All these years, he had been utterly alone. Fortunately, he now had a companion. Bruce then invited Neil to tour his cell. The moment he crawled inside, Neil was stunned. Compared to Bruce's cell, his own cell resembled a filthy outhouse. This space was incredibly spacious. It even had simple furniture and books for leisure, but Bruce only wanted to escape. He claimed that by continuing to dig in the opposite direction, they could break free within a few years. Now that the two were working together, progress would accelerate. After Bruce's persistent persuasion, Neil eventually agreed. But just as they prepared to start digging, the sound of guards' footsteps echoed outside. Terrified, Neil scrambled back into his cell. It turned out the prison opened cell doors twice daily, once for trash collection, and again during dinner delivery. As long as they remained in their cells during these periods, the guards wouldn't suspect a thing. The two wasted no time. Before digging the tunnel, Briss cut off his own hair, striking it with a flint to ignite a homemade candle. By its faint glow, they began excavating. In their spare time, Briss imparted knowledge to Neil, who studied diligently. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. One day while digging, Briss joyfully discovered plant roots emerging from the earth. This signaled the surface was near. Just months of digging left before escape. Neil returned for tools, but suddenly sand began collapsing. Briss tried retreating, yet it was too late. Falling rocks buried him alive. Neil scrambled over, clearing debris from Briss's body, and dragged him back to the cell. But Briss's lungs had been pierced. Realizing his time was short, he instructed Neil to dig out a map from beneath the floorboards. He revealed that his imprisonment stemmed from this very treasure map, then disclosed the treasure's location to Neil. With those final words, Briss drew his last breath. Neil was overcome with grief. Amidst his sorrow, the guard arrived with meals. Neil scrambled to hide in the corner, but forgot to place the tray by the door. Finding no response inside, the guard looked down and discovered Bruce's lifeless body. He immediately sought help. Seizing the moment, Neil darted back into the tunnel. Soon, guards entered the cell. They lifted Bruce onto a body bag and secured him tightly. Then they went to ask the warden for instructions, unaware that Neil remained hidden in the tunnel. After the guards left, Neil crawled out, intending to bid his mentor a final farewell. But a bold idea flashed through his mind. Soon after, the warden arrived at the cell. He showed no concern for the dead man in the prison. He ordered the body to be thrown into the sea. But as soon as they stepped outside the prison, the meal delivery guard arrived at Neil's cell. Receiving no response, the guard grew suspicious. Opening the cell door, he found Neil lying on the floor. But upon turning the body over, he discovered it was actually Briss's corpse. He instantly realized Neil had switched places. By the time he tried to stop him, it was too late. The warden had already reached the cliff's edge, while Neil hid inside the body bag. The guard now rushed outside, shouting desperately, but the sea wind drowned out his cries. The warden couldn't hear a word. Seeing his chance, Neil grabbed the warden's keys and dragged both men into the sea.